Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from anthonymorganti.com. You know, 40 years ago when I was 15 years old, I got my first camera. When I was 16 years old, I was fortunate enough to be an assistant for a great wedding portrait photographer. When I was 19, I became the assistant for advertising fashion photographer. And what those two men taught me, more than anything else, is that what separates an okay photographer from a great photographer is that a great photographer really knows and understands light and knows how to use light to his or her advantage. And with that knowledge they instilled in me, I felt confident enough when I was around 20 to photograph my first wedding. Now, as you know, weddings are very fluid and very much in the moment often. And you have to be on your toes. And so you don't really have time often to set up big lights with elaborate light modifiers so you could make the light just the way you wanted. But what I did is I used this bracket, and this is the exact bracket I used when I was 20 years old. And what it did was I was able to put my camera down here, although at that time it was a medium format camera, but a film camera. And I had the camera, you know, low, but I had the flash. It just gets it above the lens. And because the flash is above the lens, you'd be surprised how much better flash pictures turn out, just getting it up that little bit. And it really was effective. Now, the thing that you might be thinking, well, what if you're shooting a vertical like that? Well, that's where the bracket comes in, is I could just bend the bracket like that and you still got the flash above the lens. Now, it was great, but it had a couple, well, probably 3 or 4 things that bugged me. First of all, the cord. You have this sync cord. It was always getting in my way, and it often went bad. I remember one wedding, I went through 3 of them. So the sync cord was always going bad. Secondly, it's kind of heavy, and it's, you know, big, and, you know, carrying around was kind of a pain in the neck. The other thing is that although it got the light above the lens and it improved the image quite a bit, the light was still rather harsh. There wasn't really anything on here to soften the light. Well, recently, I saw this product, and it's called a Lite-Scoop by Lite Genius. So I was intrigued by this because I go to weddings all the time, like everyone else, and I see the professional photographers today, and they have their camera and they're taking shots like this. I've never seen one use the bracket. And more often than not, people that were in, you know, family of the wedding, they told me how disappointed they were in the pictures. And it's because they're really taking snapshots. If you're taking a shot like this with your flash just on the camera, it's pretty much a snapshot. You're really not doing anything to try to control the light. So I saw this product, I contacted them at Lite Genius, and I asked them if they could send me one. And they did. And I was like really astounded of what a great job this does. It does everything my crazy bracket over here does, but it also softens the light and makes it much more flattering for your subject. Now, the way you would use this isn't like you might think. You do take your flash and you bend it up, and you don't just put it on like that. You turn the flash, the swivel on the flash, so it's kind of sideways like this. Then you put it on. Now, there's a couple reasons for this. Most notably is that normally when you look at a flash, it has an angle of flash. And it's usually the angle is greater going this way than it is going this way. So you're taking advantage when you turn this sideways of getting more light on the scoop. So that is part of the reason why you turn it sideways. The other is when you are taking a vertical shot, you just have to bend it up like that. And it gets it up above the lens enough where you really take advantage of the light when you're shooting a vertical like that. So this simple little product, it's one of those ones, if you've ever been a tinkerer and you tried to make things before, It's like so simple. Why didn't I think of that? And I was really surprised, and I really like to thank those guys over at Lite Genius for sending me this so I could check it out. And you could check out the pictures. Yesterday I was able to get my youngest son up here very reluctantly, and he allowed me to take a few shots. So I took a few shots without the Lite-Scoop, and then I took a few shots with the Lite-Scoop, and you could see the difference that this little product made. So that's it. Again, I'm really happy they sent me this and allowed me to check it out. And it's not super expensive either. So that really helps because everyone's on a budget. And especially if you're just starting out in photography, you need something to separate yourself from the pack. And you probably don't have a lot of money to buy elaborate light modifiers. So this really fits the bill. And the people over at Lite Genius were very kind, telling me that for the month of December, if you use the link below to purchase your Lite Genius, that they'll give you free shipping anywhere in the world. So take advantage of that. I really think it's a really nice product and you won't be disappointed. All right, that's it for now. Thank you everyone that watches my videos. I truly do appreciate it.